into the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey! I like this in the nigga tie, right? Hey! See, we turn up over here. Yeah. We turn up over here at AfterBuzz TV. That's how we get down. That's how we get down. Shout out to Kids Gamar. That's how we do it. You know what I'm saying? We using this song because it was on the show.
Yeah.
And you know what show we're on? This is America's Best Dance Crew. What? Oh my gosh. I'm so hyped. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Lim Gonzalez. I'm so excited to be here. I was out last week. Excited to be back with my homies, my crew. We got special guests in the building. We got regular guests in the building. Like, it's just all gonna go down. So make sure you're gonna find me, of course, everywhere, because I'm always, all the time, everywhere. But you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, all of those at The Poet Saint. And next to me is the beautiful Desiree Murphy. Where can they find you, girl?
You guys, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at dmurph625.
Yeah, and I was mentioning one of our special guests, and that is none other than Shorty from Beat Freak Season 3. She's in the building.
Thanks for having me.
Shorty, where can they find you?
All right, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BGirlShorty. So follow me.
Word. And he was here last week, ladies and gentlemen, and he's back again because he's part of this panel. That's how he gets down. You know what I'm saying? My boy Lino Lanera. What's up, boy?
That was so good. Thank you. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Nino. You can find me at Nino Lanera on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yes, all good. So let's jump into this episode. I will say, first of all, I'm very excited about how this show, I mean, there's a lot of dance shows on TV. There's been a lot of dance shows over the years, and I love America's Best Dance Crew because they're so innovative. Like, you never know what they're going to do with these crews, how they're going to kind of formulate things, and it was just interesting, like, this particular challenge, how they put the two together and made them, like, that just blew my mind. Like, it was like mind freak. Like, it blew my mind. So they called it the VMA Mega Group Challenge. And for those of you who don't know, you should know, but this show is it's only 6 episodes because it's the road to the VMAs. So it's ABDC, but it's road to the VMAs, and basically whoever wins, of course, gets $100,000, but also it's leading up to the VMAs. So it's great promo for that. So everything is kind of intertwined with how all of that goes on. And so the way they did it this time is they put there's 4 crews left. It's I Am Me, Quest Crew, Super Crew, and Kinja's. Kinja's my favorite. I mean, shout out to Jeff. He's not here tonight, but he doesn't think that they're that good or whatever. I think, and this is my thing, a little salty. Oh yeah, Jeff is very, very much on the Salt Lake. He's from Salt Lake City. Like, I'm just saying, like, he's. I'll tell him to his face. He knows. But my thing is, first of all, I think they're so dope. But on top of that is, started with 6 crews and 5 of them were returning champions. Yeah. They're the only ones. You know what I'm saying, Shorty? You were on this. You went through this challenge. Like, tell me how you would feel if you were on a crew. Your crew Beat Freaks, and you guys were the only crew that basically hadn't been there before, and you're competing against 5 other dope crews.
There's a lot of pressure. I feel like if you're a new crew, you have an expectation level to reach, and you have to reach it.
Right.
So, I think they have the upper hand as far as people have never seen what they do, so that they have, like, other crews, people have seen them, so they have to create new stuff. But with Kenja's, like, nobody knows what to expect, so they can do literally anything, and people are really open to accepting it. Other crews, they have, like, we see them do things from other seasons, so if they don't do well, you're like, oh, I know you could do better. Right. But Kenja's, they don't know. So I think that's cool, but I think that Yeah, they've been really great, and I think you just have to come in with an open mind, and you got to be grateful to be there as new people.
Right.
So I think it's been cool.
And Kinjaz comes from, Kinjaz has been around for a little bit now. People don't see them on national TV, obviously.
Right.
But they have a good fan base as well, too.
They do.
But people get attracted to them so quickly just because of how innovative they are, how clean they are.
Right.
And they're made up of a whole bunch of people from a whole bunch of different dance crews.
Yeah.
Right.
And all-stars from these dance crews.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's an all-star crew.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're dope. They wouldn't be on the show if they weren't dope. So, I mean, I don't think their dopeness is in question. I just think it's very daunting to kind of come on a show. I know if I'm not a dancer by any means. I play one on TV, but besides the point, what I'm trying to say is, get to the point where, you have this, these people have already been proven.
Right.
And you're coming in and you're the new kid. And like I said, I think they're holding their own. What do you think? Desiree? What do you think,
I
Desiree?
totally agree. I love them, especially tonight. We'll get into that later. But I'm loving them.
Yeah.
Every single week, they're clean.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, innovative, super innovative. So let's get into it. We mentioned that they had the Maker Group Challenge. So what they did was they took I Am Me and they took Quest Crew and they made I Am Quest.
Yes.
Okay. And then they took Super Crew and Kinjaz. And guess what? Super Kinjaz. Oh my God. I just can't believe it. I don't know, the producers racked how many hours to come up with that. I'm just saying. It's crazy. So the concept was to blend two crews together to make it appear as one. And then how they did it was the two groups that were in the winning group were safe. And then the bottom two, they had to battle each other basically for the last spot.
Right.
So my question before we get into it, and anyone can chime in, who do you think, I'll give you my opinion, but who do you think was better? I know who won, but who do you think was better?
I like 2-1.
You like 2-1.
I like Super Crew, and Kinjaz the best.
Okay. Okay.
That's my opinion.
That's your opinion?
I did too. But my only thing was with them was it felt really Kinjaz. I don't know if anyone else thought that.
Absolutely.
It felt, from the moves, from everything, and kind of just the feel of everything, it felt very Kinjaz. But then again, Kinjaz, it was just so good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Super Crew did do a ninja thing in their season.
Right, I remember that.
So it made sense that they were grouped up, and it was like the towers at the beginning. It was madness.
Yeah, and they've done, like you said, they've done that before. And I think too, because the crews, even though they're different, I mean, and I had the chance to interview Kinjaz there during the first episode, and they were telling me about their styles, and they said they could pretty much adopt any style.
Very true.
But I think at their core, I think they're breakers, which that's what Super Crew is. So I think that them together, I think it just makes it. I see what you're saying. It was very Kinja or whatever, because I think that their styles are very similar at their core. Again, this is my little hood experience, expertise or whatever, but that's how I feel. What do you think?
Yeah. For me, this one wasn't even a question. I thought Super Kinjaz killed it.
They killed it.
Yeah, and that is a good point that you made, Nino, though, about how it felt very Kinjaz to you. I didn't realize that while I was watching it, but now that you say it, I get what you're saying.
The mesh of the crews were perfect, though. Like you said, they really, really worked well together, and it was so seamless. It looked like Kinjaz when Kinjaz are all together, because not everyone knows, but Kinjaz is not just eight guys on stage. It's a bigger team.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
I want to say it's like 50 of them. Yeah. No, it is. For real.
It's crazy. When you see them live and you see all of them performing together, being in sync is just ridiculous when it's a crew like that.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
true. And Super Crew just accents them even better with all their blow-ups and stuff. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Shout out to both of them.
Dude, I love them. I Am Me and Quest, though, I think everybody that watches the show thinks that forgets that we're all friends.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all these crews, they got the chance to work together on the show, but off the show, we all worked together as well. So I thought I Am Me and Quest was a really good mashup, actually.
As well.
But I was like, man, y'all could do a little bit more.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm so glad you're here, because I want to ask this, and I know in other genres of art and whatnot, it's small communities, but is the dance community a small community? It's very intertwined and
Totally
close-knit?
small.
Okay.
Very small. It's large but small. So,
Right.
After the show, we all work together. I still work with all the guys.
Oh, okay.
And, even leading up to the show. So, Philip, Hawk, and Moon actually just came up. I think I don't want to say production company, but they started something. So they they create together a lot already.
Oh, okay.
Amazing.
So, but it's all friendly competition, so I think
Sure.
the show is cool for them.
Sure.
But
No, absolutely.
yeah, I know that they can be brilliant. Their minds are out of this world.
Oh,
The three
just
of them.
insane.
Oh my gosh,
insane.
so
Insane.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what the judges had to say with Super Kinjas, and just so you know, I agree with all of you. I thought they were the best, but of course, Team Kinjas. So, duh.
Bias.
Right. So judges, some of the comments they said is that it was strong. They didn't know who was who, which I think in that challenge, I think that was good to kind of blend together. There was, I can't remember who it was that did the flip, but it was kind of off.
Nagin, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of off. But basically, overall, dope.
Right.
So you had I Am Quest, and then they mentioned about the fast feet that they were doing, and
Right.
that's something that you're familiar with being on the Beat Freaks.
Yeah.
So they were saying that they need to stay on top of that because it wasn't quite together in sync. But they did say it was intense, and then the Tootsie Roll off the bleachers.
That was
kind of
that
a
was dope.
cool.
That was dope.
Yeah,
That was dope.
Yeah,
Visual.
Cool.
yeah, visual. And that's the thing. It's like it's so like when I'm watching it, I'm like, yo, like I have to sometimes rewind it because I'll
same.
miss something because the judges will say, yo, I remember, and I'm glad that they do that because then you get to see it in slow motion. You're like, I didn't even know he was doing that. You know what I'm saying? I thought he was just sitting down, but he's like doing knuckles presses. You know what I'm saying? Well, I just thought he was sitting there. You know what I'm saying? So so I mean, it's just crazy, like how the like you said, the imagination that they have
Right.
to not only come up with these concepts, but then also execute.
Right.
Because you can come up, have this great imagination, but to execute it is just beyond me. It's crazy.
I didn't even realize they weren't that clean during the fast footwork because it was so fast.
Right.
And I was like,
fast.
down, I was like, oh, I can see it right there. You would though.
The connoisseur over
You were there
here.
like a quarter of an eight.
Right.
Early,
I saw it a mile away. I was sleeping. I knew that they were out. I mean, I'm just saying. That's how I roll. So Super Cool and Kinder's Advance, which we all are in agreement with. So then we find out that there's a second part, and they called it the cruise control, where they got to the cruise. Each of them, all four of them, got to decide basically from start to finish how they were going to do it. So they got to pick the music or lack of music, which we'll get into. They got to the lighting, the set. They got to the director. So they even how the camera was going to operate. And I thought it was cool to again allow them because, unless you go to a show and see it live and see all the parts that are kind of put that together. I think the part that got me the most is how sometimes they have to redo it. You know what I'm saying in taping because it's not a set. So you have this whole number done, right? And then you're just like, oh, dope. That's amazing. We got to do it again. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there like, wait, so they could have done that 2 or 3 times, to get to that point.
Yeah. I think they do it twice. They do 2 tries. But
Is
you
that what
shouldn't
it
get
is?
more than that because it's like, you got to be able to hit it.
Sure, absolutely.
It's still a competition at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely,
exactly.
yeah.
So-
I just remember when I went, it was like I said, the first episode, it was the opening number, and they did it twice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they did it twice. So I thought, because my thing is, and I mean, it makes sense, learning more about television and how that operates because it has to be, for the show. But to sit up there and do that and have to do it again, you know what I'm saying, the same exact way, and basically to get it right, I mean, especially with all those inner working parts, it's just so much. I mean, that was at that point in time, it's 6 crews, all dancing
so true.
and in sync, and then doing their own thing, and then back in sync. And at that time, it was Neo, and he was singing, and he was dancing, and
Oh, he
da-da-da.
killing it.
You know what I'm saying? Neo was. I wasn't mad at him.
that
I wasn't
intro.
mad at him. No, that intro was dope. Shout out to Nab Tabs that did for that one. But so anyway, the first person up is Kinjas, and they just they said no music, and I'm like, wait.
That's so good.
What is going on?
Wait, no music? Like, I'm like, because before that, I'm like, okay, there's got to be something. You're not going to be a cappella just, tearing it up. So then they said, we want a beatbox. And I was like, okay, I can see that. And I want to say that, and I don't know if it was this show, because I mean, I'm a big fan of dance in general. It could have been another show, but I know that there was someone else that did something like that. Not to this level.
Right.
This was on another level.
It probably was the same guy
Was it the
because
same?
Mike Song, the guy from Kinjas, they did him and the guy that beatbox. They went viral. It was a video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that I had seen it like somewhere before.
Yeah, definitely.
Where it was just the beatbox and the dance, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So they decided to use the beatbox. Beatbox dude was dope. What was his name? I didn't get his name.
I think it was Terry.
Yeah,
That
it
was his first name.
Yeah, it was like
I'm so sorry if I butchered that. I'm trying to remember too.
Yeah, it was just
Right.
crazy. But yeah, so he was dope. He was super dope. So they basically had it to where they were just gonna dance and he was gonna do the beat, and then that was it. So I'm like, how is this gonna work? I was like, it's Kinja's my favorite, so it's gonna be amazing. Like, it's gonna be amazing, but how amazing is it gonna be?
Yeah.
That's how I was. And then they did it, and I'm just like, yo, like, and I'm thinking the practice, because one of the things that one of them said, which makes sense, because normally you're dancing to music, so
Right.
everything is on beat. Now you have a human beatboxer, it's not going to be the same, because the synchronization is going to be a little bit off slightly because of how you're doing it. So for them to, even with that hurdle, for them to do what they did,
It was crazy.
You have to basically trust that musician,
Right.
You know what I mean, to make sure that he's gonna hit the beat when you're gonna hit your beat. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So like for him to actually do it throughout the whole time, and each one was hit, I was like, oh my god, they're really doing it.
I know. It was
Yeah, no,
epic.
that was crazy. Like I said, not only was he amazing beatboxer, but just the stuff that they put together, and it, dude, yeah, it was amazing.
Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat,
Yeah.
man. I feel like I'm playing
Oh
like
my
Sega
God.
Genesis.
Yo.
Everything.
Yo, when they did the integral thing, and are you
So cool.
serious?
Oh my god.
Crazy. I mean, that just took me back to like childhood. It's like, just like finish him. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like,
Bring me back real quick.
that was amazing. The judges loved it. They said it was bold. It was Frankie was like, it was tenfold what he asked, because he had asked them before to kind of step up their game a little bit, and he said it was just tenfold. Yeah, of course, they had the Mortal Kombat thing, the crab walk.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Villain.
That was
Yeah,
sick.
villain
That
and
was
stuff.
crazy. Yeah, that was insane. So I was just like, and they opened up like, yo, how do you follow that?
Sit down.
Yeah, how do you follow that? Like, if I was going up next, like, I'd be like, nah, son, can someone else go?
Yeah,
Like, so they can just,
I need one more
like,
to go.
please, like, I can't. Yeah,
Not
it's
me,
just,
not right
it was
now.
so hard to follow. So
Yeah.
next up was Super Crew, and so they're kind of putting together. They decided to add an extension to the stage,
Yeah.
And they wanted kind of an appearance of a separate, which I think the stage looked dope.
It did.
I do
And I
too.
think if anybody was going to do something like that, it was going to be them.
Yeah.
Because of all the flips that they do, the high flying, all of that going on. And so they did their thing. I thought it was dope. I don't think it was as good as Kinja's. But I think for what they did, I think my favorite part was, what was it, the synchronized flipping when they were on the outside? Yeah. What is that? Does that have a name?
I think they call it a side. I don't know. Wait, Steve watching the side to me.
They had some of my favorite things there. They had New York, obviously.
Yes.
Right. And then they had
100%.
Kendrick playing.
Dude,
Right.
I
You know what I
know.
mean?
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It was a tribute to the b-boys. You know?
Yeah,
Right,
it's a hip hop.
right,
It was
right.
dope.
Right. So it was nice to see the way they did it was really, really cool. Once you said, like, you know, obviously coming from like right after Kinja's was just crazy nasty. It was so dope. Sure.
Yeah.
I still think that they did a good job. I felt like happy and proud to see what they did. So
I'm so
absolutely.
proud.
Yeah.
They're
Absolutely.
so different from Kinja's. Like what they have to offer. Like Kinja's was so dope at what they do, and Super Crew was so dope at what they
thank
do.
you.
So it's hard to like for me to put those two against each other has been really hard the whole season.
Right.
Because I'm like, what do you guys do? It's so different. How do you really judge whose piece is better? Because what Super Crew is doing is really hard. You have some of the best in the world, and then you have Kinja's who just dance and they're amazing. You know, so I don't know, man. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, they're so amazing. I was
Yeah.
so proud of them tonight.
Yeah.
Super
No,
Crew.
it's crazy, just crazy. And if you think that they're amazing as well, we are live, so you
Yes.
can live tweet us. Use the hashtag ABTVABDC 5 times fast.
Talk to us.
ABTV
Talk to us.
ABTC. See, I'm messing it up now.
I know.
See, I had it, and then ABTV ABDC.
Can you say it, Shorty?
ABTV, ABDC.
Okay.
Sorry, you're too good at
Yeah, whatever. They're all good. Like, you do this all the
Take our
time.
jobs too.
Anyway. But make sure you live tweet us. We can get to you before the end of the show. If you have any questions, you just want to say how awesome everything is, because, or just say how awesome we are. I mean, we'll take that too. That's how we roll.
Exactly.
So next up, we had I Am Me, which also I think I like I Am Me because I think that they're different. And what they remind me of as a crew, they remind me, which I don't know what season they were on. Don't quote me. I know it was an earlier season, but Fanny Pack.
Fanny Pack.
Oh, they were second season.
They were second season?
They're Super
Okay.
Crew season.
Okay, Super Crew season. And I thought Fanny Pack was amazing, and I liked that they were original. They did original moves. They kind of, marched to be their own drum. And I think I Me is very, very similar to that. And for me, the headbangers, or what they call
Brain
banging. Thank you. And the stuff that they do, which just takes it, out of the world. So I was interested to see what they were going to come up with. Of course, they had the airboards.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what?
They set themselves up.
Yeah.
I thought my knees were breaking for them.
It's like, yo, I can't even walk straight, sober. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm that guy. I'm super clumsy. So I'm like, how are they gonna be on these things and then dance and then come off and then Homeboy did a handstand? What?
Yeah,
Hard.
I don't know if you've ever
crazy.
been on one before, but those aren't the easiest to maneuver on, and to have to keep your weight together and still to move forward and to move backwards and to still jump around and dance and trick on that.
Yeah. Because I mean, correct me if I've never been on one.
I haven't either.
But it's in order to move it, you have to, isn't it?
It's hard.
You have to think, don't you have to move the direction? I'm just that. It's got to be difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So then to dance
I was on it for 2 seconds and I fell. So
Yeah, I fell too. What's up with that?
yeah.
so you've tried it?
Yeah, 2 seconds. I think I went maybe a foot.
Are you serious?
And then I just leaned backwards and it was done.
Wow.
I was like, y'all can have this.
Wow, you didn't even forget
No,
it.
so for them to be able to do that while they were dancing, it's just nuts to me.
Yeah, I
That
think a
was
standout was Emilio. His
Emilio.
faces were animated. His
Yeah.
flip off the stage, that was just
Oh, that was
insane.
What did the judge call him? They were like, you're like the hoverboard god, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Something like that.
Airborne God. They call it the Airborne God.
Hopefully it's an airborne commercial.
Yeah, I know, really. Yeah, I mean, he was on it like it was nothing. He has one at home. That's how
Probably
he
does.
is.
He probably does.
He probably does.
He might.
He probably has his name on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they did call him the Airborne God. He did the handstand happen. So they were scaring everybody because they had the Victorian era. So I thought it was dope how
creepy.
the costume, so it made it look ghostly.
Yeah.
They were literally floating. And then that move, Bebo running into the people and jumping into a freeze.
Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, what?
He is Superman.
Yeah, for real.
Am I tripping? Were there people? Were they stacked up as well too on the hoverboard, or was
No, they were stacked up at the beginning. Tam was.
At the beginning, yeah.
Tam was on
a
top of
hoverboard, though?
on Philip. I think so.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because that's when she fell. She fell off
did.
and they caught her. So it looked like
right.
she just.
That's
Yeah.
right. Oh my god!
Yeah, that was crazy.
Dude,
it was
they're
crazy.
T-Pain made me laugh when he said, "Do y'all compare bruises at the end of the show?" I was like,
Oh, yeah.
yes, that's a serious question."
That was a good question, and it was funny
know.
because they were just here,
Yeah.
and then they're all right here, all over the place. I can imagine, like I said, I mean, you practice all week
Yeah.
to perfect this, and all the falls and tumbles and stuff that you'll take just getting ready. You know what I'm saying? It's not a game.
Yeah.
It's not a game, and especially doing something like that where you have props,
Yeah.
where things can be dangerous. I mean, all of that. Like I said again, I commend all of them for what they do. I wish I could do it. I can't. So I host AfterBuzz TV. So I stay in my
Same.
lane. I stay in my lane. So we had the last group. We had Quest Crew, and they basically wanted. They went the opposite of IME. They wanted to keep it simple. Just wanted to use a bench. They also wanted told the director wanted to keep it kind of one shot. And it was interesting too with what they did because at first, when they were doing it, the move, I was just like, this is really simple.
Right.
Everyone else kind of did all this crazy stuff, but then it wasn't until after it was done, I was like, yo, the story that they told with this. And then T-Pain, when he starts to talk.
Oh my god! T-Pain.
That was crazy.
At first, and he's such a jokester, so I'm
know.
like, is he joking? He's gonna be like, oh, that was so, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was literally crying. He was like,
I never would have expected this from him.
I'm a producer, and all my producer friends are not on my album. He really went in. He really went in. He got choked up. But it was the emotion that they evoked in doing that piece, and that's one of the things I love about dance. I watch a lot of dance shows, and to see the emotion that you evoke when you're dancing, no matter what style of dancing you're doing, because I think when you're passionate about it, it's going to come out regardless.
Exactly.
And I think it's dope that you you as a dancer and everyone that does that can evoke that type of emotion. I think it's just amazing. So yeah, I just hands down after that I was like, okay, I see what they did. I see what you did there. And basically you can tell that they're close. You can tell that they're basically like a family. And Judges even said it was magical. What do you guys think?
I love this, and I've been a dancer all of my life. I do it for fun now when I'm not hosting AfterBuzz TV. But anyways, growing up, I've been on a dance team. I was in a studio with local friends, and it always did feel like a family. And for me, it was always a place that no matter where you are in life, no matter what's going on, you let go in your choreography. And to me, for them to take this risk and let themselves do what they believe in, I loved it. I loved it so much, and I applaud them for doing this tonight. I do.
I mean, just to tell their story on what happened and kind of the background on everything or whatnot, it was nice to see them tell that and show that they came back together. And you could see from even from the beginning episodes of this season, you kind of see it in Dietrich's face how emotional he is when he's on stage with them.
Very much.
And it's super nice to see, and it's like it's so humbling too. Like they've all come such a long way, and just see them still the same goofy guys that they were in the beginning. And the brotherhood that they still have now was really dope to see. And I think that's what caught everyone's kind of like emotion and it definitely triggered T-Pain. T-Pain, I did not see that coming.
Water works, right? Water works, yo.
It was my favorite show that they've done on the show this season. I think that because it was simple. Quest as well when they're simple, and America needs to be reminded what dance really is. Because in TV shows you can get caught up of like, oh, it's just about blow-ups and all these things, but we dance for other reasons. And so it was cool to have that they showed that. And I was really proud of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you said it best. You said that basically it's a tight-knit community, and these people that are on the show, they're all friends. They're all cool with each other. So, and that's another reason why I think that, going back to the beginning of the show when they had to pair up, I don't think that was hard at all. You know what I'm saying? Nah. I think it was just a matter of somebody giving direction of how it was going to go. But as far as them being able to dance together, I don't think that was an issue. And I think it showed when they danced.
I'm sure it was super fun for them too.
Yeah.
You kind of saw in the beginning, they're like, oh yeah, like I get to dance with them.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's a mutual respect for each other. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? You respect them, I respect, you know what I'm saying? So we should all form a dance crew.
Let's do it. What's gonna be the name?
Yeah. What's gonna be our dance name?
ABTV crew.
ABTV crew. What?
Yes.
All right, I got the pop.
Wait, AfterBuzz Beat Freaks.
Oh,
you do that as well as the MTV producer.
I got y'all on the body roll. That's all I got. I got you on the body roll.
There's a crew called
That's all I got.
That's amazing.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
I will buy the cyborg thing.
Perfect.
We will get you on there.
Get it on.
Airboard.
Like airborne cyborg. There's so many names. There's airwalk. There's so many names for it. So I'm not saying the wrong thing. There's just so many different brands. Okay.
That's true.
We can get one for Lem. You can choreograph.
Yeah.
We can get Lem on a handstand. It'll be great.
Sure.
Will.
Absolutely.
Okay. He can do body rolls on a
Freeze right on this table.
Freezes on the table.
Yes.
Yes. I love it.
That's the season finale.
Oh,
Watch out for that.
Yes.
Hilarious. So, somebody had to go, and I think at this stage of the game, everybody's so good, and so it's like, I know I would hate to be the judges and try to deliberate because it's like everyone's good, everybody's putting their heart out, and so I had predicted that it was going to be Imee just because of how Crest Crew was so connected. You know what I'm saying? I think overall, with what Imee was able to do with, how they put it together with, the airboard, all that kind of stuff, I thought it was out of the box like they normally are. But just a lot of times, heart wins, you know what I'm saying? And I think in this case, heart won. And so when it came down to it, Imee was eliminated. So, man, shout out to them. They're dope. And so we basically have 3 crews left. So we have Crest Crew, Super Crew, and Kinja's. So, I don't know.
It's getting so tough.
It's getting tough. It's getting super tough. And I'm just excited to see because of like what they did, this episode, and I agree with you. I think this is the best episode to date, of the season. So I think it's just going to get better. I think that they're going to come up with some other things now because they got to fill that hour time slot. So you got to figure they got to do, they got to do more stuff, you know what I'm saying, with less crews. So it's going to be interesting. I'm sure they're probably going to have some more themes or some other things involved and whatnot. So of course it's going to be attached to the VMAs because that's what it's in conjunction with. But yeah, I'm excited about it. Anything else?
I was sad to see I Am Me go, but I do feel like tonight they weren't as strong as they were. But one of my favorite routines they did was the Katy Perry one, and I feel like this is the road to the VMAs, and that to me was just something you would totally see on that stage.
Absolutely.
So, and I just have always loved them. So for me, it was a little rough, but it's a competition, and this is what happens.
It is a competition.
So
it is a competition.
It's just getting more exciting as we go along. We're gonna see. I gotta say, shout out to Marissa Serafini.
Yes.
From AfterBuzz TV, because she was at the taping.
She was.
And she was waving that little flag.
Marissa was getting it in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shout out to her. Waving the flag. Freedom. Oh, that's dope. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our show. We want to thank you for tuning in. As always, we are going to be here. Make sure that when you live tweet us, we're here every week. Use the hashtag ABTV, ABDC. This will be downloaded on YouTube tomorrow, so you can go on YouTube and view it, and make sure you comment. Let us know what you think about your crews. Let us know what your favorite crew is. How do you feel about I Me leaving? All of that. Let us know. I've been your host, Lim Gonzalez. Again, you can find me on social media everywhere at The Poet Saint. Where can they find you, young lady?
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. You can find me at DMurph625 on Twitter, Instagram.
You can find me, B-Girl Shorty, on Twitter and Instagram.
And once again, it's your boy, Nino. And you can find me at Nino Lanera on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
All right. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Have a good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.